if I might not be wrong,
Mm-hmm.
even the Asla Fund, it was not anchored in law, and like even the law that governs the privacy issue, data privacy was not there. And if you look at 2007, when Kibaki came into power, I think what Kibaki did, if I might be wrong, Kibaki gave the money to the banks, and that one like made people to go to the banks, and people got so loan from there, and the economy grew. The idea was very good for the ASLA, but like what happened was like they had to go it to pass through the parliament, and things to do with the privacy issue, and things to do with where is this money coming from. That's what is killing it. And if you're very keen enough, Muslims are not taking that money. Islam, if you're very keen enough, they're not taking that money. If you're very keen, ask somebody, or if you have somebody who is coming from Islamic religion, or somebody who is of that faith. Majority of them, not majority, but like the larger percentage of them, do not take the money. So I think as much as they might say he's doing good thing, we need to be very realistic and say something that might save the country. I've never seen a government doing business with the people that is protecting. Yeah, I've never seen, because that is like a government doing business with it. If you look at even like in colleges, whereby you are given those who are very lucky to get help, those ones are anchored in law. They are anchored in law. There's a law that guides them on how, when you get a job, you will have to repay back the help, student loan. It's there. So I think if we are very, 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 very like kind enough to ourselves and to our country, and like I said, the idea is very good. But why can't you do it in a way that even respects the country, such that it makes a sense? 500 cannot cannot make you do a business if you're somebody who is doing a very good business. Let us just be realistic, or not that we want to say like maybe I'm a Mazimio or I'm not Azimio. No, let us just ask ourselves like, how will 500, as a small boy in the village, or a young man in the village who wants to start a business even for 20,000, and he applies for this and he gets only like 500. And with the economy that we have, the situations that we have, how can this man make uh, do business and pay this money within 14 days? That's what they say. So sometimes it doesn't make sense. So um, they should do something about it if they are there. But I don't know what they can do so that people might benefit. But like, to me, it doesn't make sense. I might be wrong, but it doesn't make sense. 500 shillings with the life situations back at home. You know, sometimes we might come here on social media, especially like if you're supporting the president. It's okay to support the president, but at the same time, look at your neighbor. You might be very lucky that you are here, on how you can get that money, but look at your neighbor somewhere who sometimes even misses a meal, and you are saying the 500 can help, or can assist them to start business. Let us bring ideas that might grow our country, or let's bring ideas that will grow our sisters that we live in. Yeah, we're living with. And what I'm living those people with, sometimes I like quoting the Bible. When God was talking to Jeremiah, God was telling Jeremiah about, if you want to make peace, if you want to find peace yourself, first of all, make sure that the people who surrounds you, you give them peace, then you will have peace. But if you're only one person who is rich in the region and you expect to be very peaceful at night, I tell you, my friend, you are not going to be at peace with yourself. You might make those electric fence, but when a tree falls, you will still wake up and say, "These people wants to kill me," because did not create, you did not bring security around people who are, I mean, the surrounding you people that surround you, you did not give them peace. So the people who are supporting the president, if they can listen to you because you love him, he listens to you. Tell him that this is not working. And for sure, Hustler Fund it will flop. It will flop big time. I'm telling you. Thank you.
I want to bring Mzalendo. I know he has but Brother Benson, I don't think they want it to succeed. I think it's a money laundering scheme. They have no intentions of making anything succeed. And let me say to Safaricom, if you, whoever, I know Safaricom is a multinational. You came to Kenya, mkaanza biashara nzuri, mkajenga biashara, and you are doing good with M-Pesa and all that. But working, going to bed with a corrupt government is the beginning of your downfall. Because first and foremost, all these hustlers who borrowed money, most of them will not pay it back. So the most likely thing they are going to do is to change their lines. And what what will Safaricom do? Nothing. What will you do with someone in the village who cannot pay 500? Will you sell him or sell his children to get the 500 shillings? He has nothing to lose. Now, secondly, you people, you have been doing stuff in Kenya. In the past, you could even just pay for construction from here. Kama kuna nyumba unajenga, unajua ile duka ya pale kwenyu, the hardware in your shopping center, in your town, let's say like Karatina, and you have mafundi wanajenga, you just pay, even from abroad. You pay for sand, you pay for cement, you pay for iron sheets, you pay for everything directly. You just send the money, they have a pay bill. And then you could pay your fundis with M-Pesa, right? I mean, we were working on a cashless society. Now, you telling me that now there are transaction fees. I think people are going to, what is going to happen is people, the rate of business, the transactions will go down. So even the businessmen will feel it because these people were operating with M-Pesa. So kama unataka Julia atembea aingie ndege aende pale Karatina kununua mchanga na kununua mabati, I think I'll think very hard. I won't do that. Maybe I'll think I'd rather buy a house or something, or even stop with that housing business, high class nonsense in Kenya, niseme hata ngambo pia ni nyumbani. So that is what people are likely to do. So I'm like, how do you tell me to pay for all this and I'm losing so much? I will be like, no, I'm stopping this nonsense. And in the environment, this kind of environment of high level, I mean, we are afraid of this bank may collapse, Safaricom may collapse, this may collapse. So people are going to desist from transacting. That is what I'm thinking. People are going to desist from transacting. People are going to prevent themselves from transacting. So this will be the source. If Kenya Kwanza had big plans to make a lot of money from tax haitapatikana, because now people will simply just do what they need to do to survive, to eat and sleep and go home. Lakini maneno mingi ya biashara mingi, people will stop doing that. So the businesses, the transactions will go down and the business will be affected. So in totality, the tax may not even increase. So the Kenya Council government has no intentions of fighting corruption, and they have not indicated so in any way. They don't even talk about it anywhere in the public forums. And we are not surprised that they are not doing so. So I think hard times are coming for the Kenyan economy. I think let us tighten our belts. Karibu Mzalendo.
Uh, on the issue of Safaricom increasing its charges, I think there's been. I'll only talk about things that I've heard from our legislators and things that have been there in the past. and this is something that has been a problem between Safaricom and other players in the telecommunication industry. M-Pesa at one point needed to have been split from Safaricom. So Safaricom, the call services should be is regulated by CCK. Then M-Pesa, since M-Pesa operates like a bank, that is why it is now being regulated by CBK. That is the biggest contention here. That is why you are seeing pesa yako sijui imefanya nini. I think Airtel and the rest have moved towards that direction. So for fair play, M-Pesa ought to have been regulated by CBK because it is transacting money and not M-Pesa regulating itself. So that charges were going to come, whether you like them or not. It is something that is in parliament and your legislators debated about it. It is not an Ruto bill. It is something that has been teething from time immemorial. So that has been there. It's an issue that has been in parliament.
Mzalendo,
Don't
Mzalendo.
I so let me just finish.
Oh no, let me. I'm not. That one, I agree with you. The one that you
Mm,
are saying about in the legislation, that one was wrong. But like, I'm just reminding you, if at all you are home during this December holiday, by 1st of January 2023, the banks gave a notification to their customers. Yeah, that you will realize increase on your M-Pesa transaction. I don't know whether you're aware of that. I'm not
no.
talking about the one for legislation. For regulation, that is there. Something that is
Mhm.
there.
Um, Brother Benson, I am not aware. I was not home over Christmas, so I am not aware of the warnings from the local banks. I was abroad, so maybe that's above my pay grade. So you could just tell me more about it, just enlighten us, and why the banks were coming up with these laws. Is it something that is within the banking laws, or uh, it is just something that is being imposed by the Ruto government?
Yeah, it's something from the government.
It's something from the government.
Yes.
So it is something that they sat down and thought that this is the best thing that they can do
Yeah, the taxes
for
on the
to regulate the industry. Yeah,
is
yeah.
not is not regulating. I think it was just like a directive on the M-Pesa increment on the rates on the services, the services that they are charging
Mhm.
was to go up, especially when you're transacting with the bank.
So it is it's the bank increasing the charges, or it's M-Pesa increasing the charges?
M-Pesa,
M-Pesa increasing the charges.
yes.
All right. I think I need to do more. Just like I told you
If
that
you have
now
your if you have your
that
number, I can give you a notification from National Bank.
National Bank, that is
I
a
can
government
give you,
bank.
I can give you that.
I'm not refuting it. I'm not refuting, my brother. I'm just telling you that's above my pay grade because it is new. I'm just hearing it from you now. I'm only talking about the things that I've had between Safaricom and and Parliament. So that one is that something was going to happen because Airtel, I think they have already changed their way of operation. So Domi, I want to. I know I sent you something there. I was hoping that you'll react to it, but you have technically ignored it on GMO. I still want you to do research on GMO, get the facts each and every time you come here. People say, oh, GMO ni mbaya, sijui GMO ni mbaya. I want you to do a thorough research and then come up with a scientific proof that hii kitu inadhuru afya. And I sent you a video where people, legislators, including your leader, was supporting GMO then. Then now, since it's being introduced by another person, he's saying that GMO is bad. But then it was good. It was good, and he approved it. And you came here saying that it was they were experimenting. There was no experiment. He approved it in Parliament and recommended it. So each and every time when people come here, all we say is that have your facts. If you don't have facts, I'll give you the facts that are there. So sometimes ni hivyo tu ndio tunajaribu kusaidiana. There are some good things coming from the government. There are some things that Ruto is not getting right, but by and large, it is too early to judge the government. Within 4 months, you already want the GDP to grow. I don't know by how much. This government is young. Give it some time, and I'm sure the programs that have been put in place. You talked about kazi kwa vijana in your rural village. Kazi kwa vijana in your rural village. I can tell you without even doubting that even when Uhuru left, in your local county assembly, nobody was getting that money for kazi kwa vijana. It was going into somebody's pocket. Today, there are roads being built going to Malaba. Hiyo ni vijana watapata kazi. I told you that there's an electrical bus company that has started manufacturing electrical vehicles, buses in Nairobi. Youths will get modern jobs. We must rethink. We can't do things the way we have been doing year in, year out. Ati unaambia watu waende wachimbe mtaro na kuna mamashini za kuchimba mtaro siku hizi. Let the youths get skills na waende wapate kazi mzuri za kufanya.
Asante, I know Dom, you want to say something about the GDP. The GDP has dropped Zalendo for the last 3 months. I look for that clip by Mutahinguni, according to IMF. So why it has dropped? We don't even want to grow. We want him to keep us where Uhuru left us. We are not even asking him Ruto to do miracles. We want him to keep us where Uhuru. Kwanza afikue vile Uhuru alikuwa, alafu aanze kusema I'm improving on this. Si kuturudisha nyuma that we are paying more on food, more on everything. No, you can't tell us to take that. So we are not asking Ruto to do any miracles, to build houses for us or make homes for us. We want him to sustain us the way Uhuru sustained us. Then from there he can say, okay, me and Uhuru, we were at this point. Now we want to do better. Sasa utusiambie we are being impatient. No. We don't want him to destroy what Uhuru was saying. Even this thing of kazi kwa vijana. You don't make people jobless and then you start telling us that you are going to create jobs, which you have not created yet. You create the jobs first and then you tell us, wale vijana wenyu wanalima mitaro. Nimewatoa kwa mitaro, siku hizi wanafanya kazi hapa. We have not seen that. We just see public declarations on the streets that hii kazi kwa vijana, tunaanza nyumba, we are doing. Mimi, mama yangu used to say, I don't know, just that you people, you are not Kikuyus. Eh? She used to say that the clan of I will do. She doesn't belong to that clan of I will do. I will do. I will do. She used to tell me, no, my daughter, say I have done. Not I will do. Sasa hii serikali ni I will do. Mzalendo, we agree with you that these youngsters can do better things. But before he takes that income from them, let him create the income generating activities and projects, and then let him tell us that we had 10,000 youths in Nairobi. They were working kazi kwa vijana. Hivi sasa wako hapa. We want data. We want statistics. We want to see those people working. Tutaki hadithi ndefu, promises. So still your story ya kazi kwa vijana, I disagree with you totally. Maneno ya GMO mzalendo, if you are in the US, you go to Walmart, things are labeled. they are clearly labeled organic products. Why do they label them? Yes, they have accepted the technology, but these people are very clear. So that when Julia wants to buy food, she buys at her own she makes a decision, a sober decision kwamba sitaki organic leo nataka hii. So I have no one to blame or to, even when I go to buy eggs, you know, there are those that are cage free and all that. I can look and see and decide, and they are well labeled. So I have no one to blame. If I have consequences, it is me who has decided. Lakini ni Kenya gani hii mahindi ilitolewa Mozambique ikaingizwa, and then suddenly we had two big ships with a lot of corn at the port. Now somebody talked, I think it's ni Mama Kibambele Amadom, somebody said here that Uhuru destroyed some ships that had fake cars and substandard cars. And even we know kuna biashara zilikuanga hapa River Road na I think Koinange streets of substandard products that Uhuru got rid of. That is why the likes of Kuria and others were so mad with Uhuru. You see? And then I think some time back, Uhuru destroyed some ship that had drugs. Now, these two ships that came with this corn from Mozambique, nobody told us kama ilikuwa GMU. Nobody told us the fate of those two ships. I don't know whether there were two ships or how many ships or how many containers there were. Now, this is the kind of a government we are seeing. Now, Mzalendo, you know clearly that Kenya, even the Bureau of Standards is not strict. Kenya Bureau of Standards is not strict. And now you want us to expose our dear Kenyans. First and foremost, they are desperate and they are hungry. Wakipelekwa unga ya 50 na ni ya GMO hata kama iko na chemicals, they'll buy because they are needy. Kenya is not like America. Americans protect their own people. So you buy things at your own, you decide what to buy because everything is clearly indicated. Kenya will not do that. We know the kind of people we are dealing with. So another thing, stop keep pinning dummy down about GMO, even though you have no scientific data about GMO. So if dummy, come on, dummy, and atawe hauna. You don't, Muzalendo, don't tell us here. And there are lots of, no, Muzalendo, that is your own view. So there's a lot of debate. There's a big debate about GMO. So you cannot claim here to put down dummy ati hana scientific data. Pia wewe huna scientific data about the benefits of GMO. You don't have. So all of us have this information here and there. We are trying to add 1 + 1. So me as Julia, if I'm afraid of that and I hear come up, there are chances of maybe catching cancer or something. If I have an alternative, I'm going to avoid it. But me, I can say maybe I'm lucky, I can avoid it. I am not boasting about that. I just thank God for placing me in a position where I can avoid. But can Kenyans do that? No. So the government of Kenya must protect Kenyans. And what is the government doing? Taking advantage of their vulnerability. That is devilish. I want to say that. In fact, that is very devilish. This government should protect Kenyans. See, atikuwaletea every other thing that comes from west, east, west. Why are we buying food from Uganda and Tanzania and wherever when we can produce that food? What is wrong with this government? These things have only happened for the last 3 months. You people, I used to think Uhuru is a poor manager. But after Ruto taking over, now I think Uhuru is my hero. I'm telling you. I'm beginning to conclude that Uhuru is my hero and that he did a good job. I'm beginning to think that. And I think, Muzalando, you not tell us about GMO again. You too, you have no scientific data here. And you have no scientific authority to tell us anything good about GMO. Just as much as Domi is entitled with his reservations about GMO, you tutetea GMO wako, lakini usianzie hapa kuambia Domi ati hana data. He knows what he knows, just like you who claims you know what you know. So I want to end that story of GMO because none of us here has any scientific data to claim that I know 1, 2, 3, I have tested. Haujaenda kwa lab, hauna lab yako Mzalendo ukatest. Na kama publish it, let us see it published. The way we read
so
the channel.
Unaenda supermarket Walmart.
Yes, and I see the stuff indicated what is organic, what is not organic.
Kabla ifike kwa supermarket Walmart, do you think American can sell poison to its people?
Okay, we are not saying
That
GMO
is just scientific enough.
No, we are not saying GMO is poison. We are saying there are negative effects about it. So we are saying that there is a lot of negativity with GMO. That's what we are saying. And if the Americans have their own reservations,
Oh.
even as we should agree with them that if they have their own reservations, they have good reasonable reasons for that. So Mzalendo, what I want to desist from is coming here to tell Domi hana scientific data pia wewe hauna. So you and Domi, you are the same platform. Domi has reservations. Wewe kama unataka kula GMO, kula as much as you want. That is your choice. Domi, don't eat GMO and tell your people not to eat because you are taking good care of them. And fellow Kenyans, if your family can avoid GMO, tell them to avoid. Because if they are in Kenya, I don't know what hospitals they are going to go. So that is what I want to close that chapter on GMO. And I think we were talking about, Brother Benson, there's something you said about Kibaki. Now, Kibaki created the structures for the banking sector. Now, if you want people to access money, you create structures. So what he did, we worked with the central bank. Central bank, there's a way central bank regulates how much money we have in the economy, how much money is circulating in the economy. Now, central bank uses several methods like open market operations that are like controlling the interest rates and maybe demanding that the banks increase their cash ratio or their deposits with central bank. So they play around with that. So that is what Kibaki did. That is how the interest came down. So when the interest came down, the likes of Brother Benson, Julia Domi, Wamama, Mzalendo, we could now walk even into Standard Chartered Bank and ask for a loan. Then Kibaki also created some structures for the SACCOs. So, we had the SACCOs that were like, we had Mwalimu SACCO, I think we had Health SACCO, I think we had Ufundi SACCO, we had lots of SACCOs by the civil service and other companies. So the SACCOs were able to borrow money from Cooperative Bank on behalf of their members. So the Cooperative Bank was lending the SACCOs money at a lower interest rate, less than 10% per annum, so that the members of the SACCO could borrow money at about 12% per annum. That was translating to 1% per month. So that is what Kibaki did. He didn't go to, hakuenda kwa serikali akatoa pesa, akaletea wananchi. Those things don't work. Those things, giving people money. I talked about this before the election. When people here, like Mzalendo and the others were telling us that Kenya kwanza inakuja kuletea watu pesa mifukoni. I said, this is high class nonsense. You cannot give, even if you give me 50,000 Domi, I have my needs. I need to pay school fees for my children. I need to feed my family. Sasa unaniletea 50k nifanye nini? Nitalipa fee ya form 1 kama niko na form 1, kama kulikuwa na njaa, nitanunua unga ya hiyo mwezi, and within 1 month I can assure you I won't have the 50,000. So Kibaki knew this. You don't give people money. First and foremost, I think common sense tells us when we have too much money chasing very few goods in the economy, that is a recipe for inflation. And you people watch the latest news, the inflation in Kenya is skyrocketing. Now, so saying ati unaletea watu pesa mikononi ati ukitumia hustler fund, that is high class nonsense. You create structures and a good environment for businessmen and businesswomen. Create good structures for the banking. Stop increasing the transactions for the banks. Reduce the transaction costs. Now, lower the interest rates. Facilitate people to be in circles where they can access loans without necessarily providing title deeds and all that. Then create an environment where people don't struggle to get licensing for businesses. Kama unataka watu wafanye biashara kwa open market sokos, construct those markets for them, create structures for them, have good roads that access our markets and the sources of our goods. And now you'll see the economy coming up. Si kuropokwa mdomo na waletea pesa. Ati pesa mkono. That is nonsense from Kenya Kwanza. In fact, that's a money laundering scheme. How do you give me 500 to do what, Mzalendo? To do what with 500? And somebody even borrowed 2,000. Let me afford 2,000 for what? I mean, tuachange hii mchezo. So this Kenya Kwanza government, either they are semi-literate or they didn't want to learn from previous governments, or they have a challenged with their thinking abilities, or they are crooks and they are simply using the government for their money laundering activities. You see, or both. That is a illiterate, challenges with thinking and reasoning, poor structures and policies, and crooks who want to loot as much as they can from our poor government coffers. That is my take. So, Brother Benson, hawana mpango, hakuna mpango hapa. Nakwambia ukweli, hakuna mpango, hakuna. These are money laundering. I don't know what you people think. Wamama kibao, umenyamaza sana. Karibu.
Nimenyamaza. Nilikuwa ninanyamaza Julie nikusikize. I was just asking myself that question. And there's the one question. Well, they have been given, the hustlers have been given the 500 Kenya shillings. Then, fee ya watoto imeongezwa. Tell me, you were given 500.
Mama, let me correct you somewhere there.
Yeah.
If you are very keen enough, I think I'm in a board of a high school right now. We are still waiting for circular from government because government is still taking 22,400 and something. When you look at especially the county school, the rate at which they charge is around 40,000 in a year. But the head teacher is yet to give us a circular from the government that is saying that 22,000 has been taken away and the fee is going up. There's another one that is saying the junior high school, I think they're going to get per student, they're going to get, I think, between 7,000 to 15,000 for their school fee for the whole year. That is, one is going, and I think there's a money that was disbursed for textbooks. So on the fee, we are still using the one that Uhuru put in place. We are still yet to see if we receive one, I will give you communication because I'm a board member.
Okay.
In one of the high school. I will let you know if
Thank
that
you.
if that's
I want to talk.
that one I'm very sure it's still government is still taking 22,400, and you will find like most of the schools are paying up to 40,000. So you will see the fee is around 60,000. If you add for the government and the one for the one that you're paying on normal. So somebody can correct that, but I'm yet to receive a written documentation from the head teacher. Then I will let you know if that thing happens.
Okay. I will not talk about that. Wait for you to update us then about that. But I heard the president talking about the universities. Na yeye mwenyewe mimi nikamsikiza. He was talking about if a parent is able to educate their children in primary, high school, in good schools, why should we not let those parents continue paying the university? Why should we be paying for them? Sasa tuseme pesa za university, they cannot be compared with, that money cannot be compared with the money that is paid in the high school. It cannot be compared with the money paid in the primary school. I might be taking my child to even a boarding school where the boarding schools are so many now. You can be paying very little money for boarding school, which it doesn't charge too much money. Na sawa tu nitakuwa nasema I'm a parent who is taking my child to a boarding school. Lakini maneno hii ameleta hapa ati sasa kuna pesa za university tena. Hebu tuambie kama unajua anything about that as well.
I'm not aware about the university one. Yeah, I'm not aware.
Okay, hiyo mwenyewe mimi nimemsikiza, labda Mzalendo atatueleza hapo kidogo. Mimi mwenyewe nimemsikiza akisema maneno za university sasa, hizo maloni walikuwa wanapewa inataka kutolewa, sijui kama imetolewa ama haijatolewa. Those are kind of things that, sababu most of people seriously they will not be affording to take their children to university if they don't get such loans. So Mzalendo, utaweza kutueleza hapo kidogo. Kitu kingine nilikuwa nataka kuuliza kidogo, is this returning of 1,000? What do you think? I'm just going to put that on the floor. What do you think about this 1,000? Why was it taken out in the first place? Na as I throw this to the floor, I'm just thinking about we are going to Uganda, kind of zile njia za Uganda, the way the Uganda operates with this big money. When the 1,000 was in Kenya, I think was abolished by Kibaki. I'm not sure about that. But before, when we had this 1,000, it is the inflation was really very high at that time before Kibaki aingie. Na unajua Kibaki alikuja akatengeneza uchumi na uchumi ikaamuka kweli kweli. Nimesikia Ruto akisema anataka kurudisha Kenya mahali Kibaki aliacha. I am not sure about that as well. But kwa nini hii 1,000 inarudi? I just wanted to throw that to the floor.
Okay, you're talking about the 1,000 shillings note? Yeah, I think the members, especially Rio, will talk about that. Now, Brother Benson, are you a member of the board of, is it a day school or a boarding school?
It is a day school, and what happens is this: when there's a fee increment, like there's a money that is coming, especially the one that is coming from the government. Sometimes we do usually get the secular, but as we speak right now, the money that the government is paying in most of the people who have gone to county school, I can even share with you, the is around 22,400.
So let me ask you, Brother Benson, it is good you are here. I know that the government buys textbooks, right?
Yeah.
And the government gives enough money to buy exercise books. Exercise books Kenya, is the notebooks, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the government gives the 22,000. Is it the 22,000 part of the notebooks thing?
No. When they give you 22,000, this money is not given to the school. This money, when you look at your fee structure, if you have any of your fee structure, you will see the fee structure. They've given you in partition. Then you'll see GOK, Government of Kenya, is 22,000. So the whole money that you should be paying for the school should be the money that you are paying. And like, for instance, in the school where I am, that I'm not going to name, the total money that like most of the students are paying in a year, they're paying almost 40,000. Yeah. Out of 40,000, 22,000 is paid to students who are there. Each and every student will get 22,000. Yeah.
But the money does not go to the students, it goes to the school.
No, it goes to the school. So the student will pay, you will only pay 40,000. The student will pay 40,000. So yet, if somebody is here who also is in the education sector can correct me, but that is something that is there. We are yet to receive a notification that says that subsidy is out.
So I always ask myself, I always ask myself that, now that you are here, I always ask myself a question. Why do students in a day school pay? Because pay anything in the first place. One, the books are bought by the government.
Yeah.
Tuition is paid for by the government, right?
Yeah.
And the teachers are paid by the government.
Yeah.
Now the buildings are already there.
Yeah.
So what the children need is school uniform, na lunch, right, Brother Benson?
Yes.
So why do these children pay that amount of money? You are mute.
There's what we call the extra levies. Yeah.
What do the levies contain?
these extra levies, there's some of these levies are being decided on the board, you know, and they're used to run the school. For instance, sometimes when you come to a school, the school is not painted and you want the school to be painted well, or there are some extra things that you want to do. These are the things that are going to be discussed by the board. Then they will be discussed again by the parents. After that, they will be paid by the parents. And mostly, if this money is paid, when audit will be done with the government, we will have to disclose, like during this time, we have an extra levy of maybe 20,000, and this is how it was used, you know. So
Yeah, I
some of
get.
the are used to run the school, because like government cannot provide everything. That is because like even me, when I was still out, I used to complain about all this and like asking. So when you go in there, you will see. One again, sometimes the government does not provide teachers. You don't have, like, for instance, you are in a high school, you don't have a very good literature teacher, you don't have a teacher that can teach Farsi and all that. So what you have to do as a school, it is the BOG, the board, they have to discuss and say, how are we going to get this money? And sometimes, like, even as the board, especially where we go extra mile and we contribute just to facilitate some of the things, you know. So that is something that you have to know. So I don't know, maybe some other schools are doing it, but that is something that I know.
Thank you very much, Brother Ben. So that is something that needs to be looked at, because I seriously feel parents are exploited. And I know the members of the board most of the time have good intentions. But if you try and account for that money, Brother Benson, some of these expenses, sometimes I always think they are unnecessary expenses. Like telling the parents to raise money to buy a school bus. I think that is very unnecessary. And I think the government should come. There's a time before, I think it was still Ruto's government, especially after Kibaki, that there was a policy that schools should not even do fundraisings. Do you remember that? That schools should not even do fundraisers. And what shocked me is that as that policy was passed by the cabinet secretary, William Samuel Ruto went for a fundraise in Muranga High School, where he gave several millions of money, on the contrary of the policy that had just been passed. And Muranga High School parents were up in arms because they were asked to cough thousands of money for that fundraise. I look it up and show you. Muranga High School. He went there for that fundraising. Because, Brother Benson, now that you are going to be probably even the chairman of a big school, I want to tell you without fear of contradiction that the school principals and the members of the board are looting the Kenyan parents in the name of projects and all those extra unaccounted for levies. Why should I paint for my son's school? Let the government paint that school. Why should the parent be made to paint the school in the first place? I think that if there are textbooks for the students, if there are notebooks for the students, if the teachers are paid for the government, the other thing I should be asked for is the lunch for my child and the school uniform, and to make sure my child reaches that school. That is my opinion. And those kind of course, Brother Benson, are even more aggravated in boarding schools. You will hear the drama that goes along in boarding schools. There's so much drama of this project. Mara walimu wanataka tuition, ati walimu wanataka motivation, ati walimu wanaenda trip Mombasa. Hata kuna walimu walipelekwa South Africa, wengine wakapelekwa Middle East, wakapelekwa. All that, parents pay for that. Now, I want to go back to talk about the subsidies. I want to be clear this before Mzalendo comes in.
Let me help you clear the issue of the fee. Benson, I think if he's saying is the BOM, there's a difference between that BOM and the teachers and maybe the school bursar who sends the students fee, maybe that is supposed to be paid. So the information that I'm going to give you, you'll find that what the parents are paying is above what I'm going to give you, but I'm going to give you the information according to the ministry or the government fee structure guideline for the secondary schools 2023. And according to the government, they still insist that the day school should be 100% free, But I know that is not the case where you stay, because the government is saying that the day school, they call it the free day school secondary education school fee, should be 22,244, which will be fully paid by the government, and parents will not pay anything. So if you go to these day schools, they'll start charging things like, I don't know, lunch and whatever. So if you go through these breakdown, the government is saying the tuition is around 4,144. There's medical insurance, there's activity, there's other overheads, maintenance and improvement. That is why you should not be paying to paint the school. And they clearly say parents should not pay for the day secondary school. But I know that is not the case. If you go to the boarding schools, there are different categories. So let me start with the one that you call this the county schools. The government is paying 22,244, then the parents should pay 53,554. So if maybe the government was not paying that 22,244, the parents should be paying 75,798. Then there's these schools that are called the national schools. In a national school, the government is still paying 22,244, and the parents are supposed to pay 40,535. And we have the special schools. In a special school, the government should be paying 57,000, and the parents should be paying 12,794. So if you go to most of the schools, that is the guideline that the government gave. But if you go to these schools, you will find that they charge more than that. There is a way they also structure their school fee above what the government has told them to do. Then secondly, before, that is from 2020, when there was this corona, from March, the government through the Ministry of Education decided to subsidize this amount that the parents are paying, so that they can cushion parents on the virus. And remember that the school terms were also interfered with. So this is what the Kenya Kwanza government removed, that capitalization. There was that amount that the government paid, so that instead of this parent in boarding school paying 53,000, they were paying less than 7,500. But when Kenya Kwanza came, they removed that 7,500. But when you ask them, they're telling you that the government did not remove anything. They are talking of that 22,244 that is paid up to date and used to be paid there. They are not telling you that these 22,244, the government used to pay it. Then on top of it, Uhuru's government directed that they pay, and the government is paying another 7,500. So in total, you'll find that government was paying around 30,000 during COVID and post-COVID. But currently, the government has gone back to the initial 22,244, which was introduced immediately. They introduced the free secondary education. So you'll agree with me that even this, the free primary and secondary education in the public day schools, the government is saying should be totally zero, that your children should just be walking there with the school uniforms and bags, because the books are also produced there. But that is not the case. So that one will tell you the situation the parents are. Thank you.
Asante Leo. That's what I was trying to tell Brother Benson, that I was trying to tell Brother Benson, Benson, a minute. I was trying to tell you, Brother Benson, because you never know for how long you're going to work for those schools, and don't run away from the school. You're going to help them. I want to tell you this. I have worked in the Kenyan schools for many years, and I was even an administrator one day. I mean, for some time, for about 5 years. I sat in the board of management. And I sat in a board, a wonderful board, that sat to make decisions using the Basic Education Act. Hao watu walikuwa nakutana, Brother Benson, wako na constitution hapo. In days of procurement, they had the Procurement Act with them. A case in point in that which I won't mention. I chaired the procurement of a school bus at a cost of 13 million from Thika Motors. Now, I want to tell you here, without fear of contradiction, that neither the principal nor the chairman board of management interfered with that procurement. The tender we gave to the Motors. Nobody interfered. Nobody asked them for any commission. Nothing. And the cost was exactly the cost that we made. We decided on. And because that school was very transparent, it took her only 3 school terms to pay for that. She acquired a loan from Equity Bank. She did not ask the parent a single coin for that school bus. She used the school savings and she paid the loan from Equity Bank. 3 school terms, she paid the loan clean, 13 million. They had a new bus. The chassis was brought from Japan. Zika Motors built the bus and brought it to the school. And every process, she involved the teachers and the students. The students decided the mode of the bus, the shape, the color, the painting, the seats, everything inside. Na wanafunzi waliendea hiyo bus Zika Motors. So I want to tell you, there are people who are doing the right thing in Kenya. Now, Leo has just said here that even national schools, the children should only pay 40,000 for their boarding. How much? They pay over 100,000. Now, day schools, Brother Benson, let me tell you, those children should literally walk to school with their school uniform. Let the parents now figure out lunch itatoka wapi. If kama mngekuwa na discussion kwa hiyo board, mngekuwa muna discuss pesa ya lunch, because all Kenyan children, like you have told us here, are paid for 22,000 shillings. First and foremost, the teachers are paid by the government. Secondly, the textbooks are bought by the government. Thirdly, stationery is bought by the government. Now, what I want to agree with you, Brother Benson, penye nitakubali kana kwamba maisha inaweza kuwa ngumu kwa hao walimu wakuu is when they don't have enough teachers and they have to hire a teacher under the board of management. That one is really tough and is really tough for primary school teachers. I think that is when now the parents wanafinywa. Lakini maneno ingine, I think these parents should not pay. So about the education subsidy, I think we are confusing two things. This 22,000 is already budgeted, is under the present budget of the Kenyan government. So there is no way the government can withdraw it.
It's true.
It cannot be changed. But the subsidy, I think there was something about the COVID subsidy. That is
And the
what
subsidy was introduced during COVID. The 22,244, it is not only budgeted for, it is in the Education Act. You know, currently Kenyan government is saying that we are having free primary and secondary education. That is why each year after KCP, they even send the chiefs. If you've been in these schools, I was in one in Nairobi, and the chief will come and ask you, how many students did you have? How many have joined Form 1? So they want to ensure that 100% transition, saying that no child should be forced to repeat class 8, or no child should not fail to join Form 1. So that one cannot be removed. It was not removed. So the amount in question is this 7,500 that was introduced to cushion parents during COVID. It is the one that has been removed. But instead of the government telling you that we've removed that amount, maybe because the COVID effects are over, they are lying to you that that amount has also not been removed. So we should not confuse. The 22,244 is there. It will never be removed unless that act is changed.
Yes. The 20,000 is under the Basic Education Act. So we should look at that, the Basic Education Act. So that one is a must. It must be there. So I think what has been removed is 7,000. That is what we need. Brother Benson is going to tell us when he looks at the school.
No, anyway, no. But like, what I need to tell you, and what I need to tell you, is something that when I went to that for the very first time, because like and how you see things are being done, there's some of the things that were even like were being said there that was supposed to pass, that like I had to fight not to be there, and it's so challenging. And one of the reasons why it's so challenging, like the majority of people or the majority of us who are taken there, some see it as a place whereby it's come like getting a what, an income. Then some, so it's quite challenging, so much challenging, even to the head teacher. Even the money that they're saying like they're giving you for painting Mr. Leo, sometimes is not enough to paint the classes that you have to make them to look standard. You know, it's not enough. You know, so that's why sometimes, like, even sometimes we bring these levies, we know we are bringing them, but like we bringing them based on the fact that this is community school and we want to build our community. But with the time, if things work well and people come to understand, that education is very important, then these things are going to come out. We are going to, the extra levy will take them out, you know. That's what I want to, but it's quite challenging, especially to the head teachers, to do some of the things. That's why sometimes you find this levy extra levies are being added.
Yeah, Brother Benson, we understand you. I know you are trying to understand these head teachers, but I think I'll still say they exploit the children. They exploit
Oh,
the
sorry.
they exploit the parents, and that should not happen. I'm telling you, I worked in a school where the fee was about at 7,000, an extra county school performing position 25 in the whole country, really performing school, girls school, with over 99% going to university. Na huyo principal hakuwa nasumbua walimu na pesa, hata pesa wazazi, ati pesa ati ya tuition ya nini, hakutakanga hizo story, ati mnalipa extra, ati mnalipa extra ndio mlipe tuition. She didn't want that kind of story. She didn't want, and she would motivate her teachers, yes, but she would say out of savings. If you have any savings, we're going to motivate our teachers. Lakini maneno ya kupanga wazazi kuita mkutano ati walimu anaenda huku anataka hii, she never used to do that. So me, I know it is possible. It is possible to follow the government's guidelines. I know it is possible. It's just that these people, they just have that mentality ya Wakenya ya kukula penye umesema, kukula penye unafanya kazi. Karibu mzalendo.
Thank you very much. I mean, Benson, you've today, I mean, answered a question whereby we've spent almost 1 year being, not even almost 6 months, being told that the subsidies were removed by Ruto. Thank you for that clarity. And Leo, you are laboring very, very hard to say that the 7,000 should have continued. I'm sorry. I mean,
sorry to interrupt you. I don't want you to change. But what you're saying, I still maintain the subsidy was removed. What I'm talking of, the 20,000 is not subsidy.
Yes,
it is
called
capitation fee. So
yeah,
get the difference.
Capitation has been maintained.
Fee and subsidy are two different things. You're getting that?
Jesus of Nazareth. The 22,000, don't change the topic. You've been caught pants down. The 22,000 is still there. What you are trying to say is that the COVID money, the 7,000 that was removed, ought to have been returned. I mean, that money was supposed to cushion the parents during COVID. We no longer have that money. COVID, we don't have COVID anymore in the schools. So I am very, very glad, Benson, for bringing that issue. And you are an Azimio supporter. You've told them that, you know, the government actually maintained the 22,244, and it was not removed. And it is in all the schools, be it secondary, be it boarding, be it day school, be it the schools with people living with disability. The government has maintained that. Thank you for that clarity, because there's a propaganda here that the government removed all the subsidies in secondary schools. Thank you so much.
Mzalendo, I don't know why you are struggling to understand. 22,000 is subsidy, inaitwa capitation. Leo is talking about it here. It's under the government, Basic Education Act. So it has been there and it's going to be there. I think the discussion that has been there is the 7,000 shillings.
So what are you saying?
That the
government removed 7,000.
Yes.
That is what we've been crying for. That is the only favor that the government.
But we don't have a COVID crisis anymore. Why are you crying?
Just like when we talk of those fertilizers. That amount that was being paid for fertilizer, it's called a subsidy because it was not under any law. So government did it out of the prerogative mercy. So the same with this 7,500, it is not in the Basic Education Act, but it is because the government had a feeling of the people and the situation, the economic situation that we were in, so they introduced it. So we are not talking of that amount that is in the Act. That one is there and no government can touch it, and we used to have it. But still, despite having that one, parents had challenges. And the government, out of its merciful wisdom, decided to pay 7,500. So when we got a government that is merciless, it decided to remove the 7,500. So you need to get the difference.
Yeah,
so we have to feel it.
Because we don't have COVID crisis anymore. I think you answered.
Thank you, Muzalendo, for reminding us that we have such a merciless government that removes subsidies for food, for education, for mafuta. Wakenya wenzangu, this is a merciless government. Merciless. Mjipange, vile mtapeleka watoto shule, vile mtanunua unga, vile mtanunua mafuta. Domi, you want to say something? And then mama Kibawa atasema kitu. Karibu Domi.
No, I was just laughing because you know, there is something I think you have clarified where Muzalendo was trying to keep on lying to us about subsidy. Subsidy ilitolewa.
You are still going on.
Na ukubali nayo. That's what I was laughing about. Anyway, I didn't want to say anything.
He's trying to rub it on you, Muzalendo, to remind you that you have a merciless government. So today we have Brother Benson. You'll be telling us updates. Brother Benson, hiyo 7K ikirudisha utatuelezea. We are following this story.
Okay,
this story.
Ngoja ndauliza mwalimu, unajua yeye ako na habari. Ndauliza even like I know the junior secondary school, there's a money that they should be getting. I will tell you.
Question, Brother Benson. Yeah. We have the right man in hand today. I mean, tell us about junior secondary school. Hawa watoto wametoka primary, wamekuja kwa hiyo shule ya secondary.
No, what happened was this. The Ministry of Education and the government officers, they came to those schools and did what we call inspection. After doing inspection, they approve or disapprove. If you are disapproved, you become a feeding school. You will feed the nearest school that is next to you. You know, and if you are approved,
I mean, if you feed, if you're up, who was being approved, the primary school,
the
or
primary
the
schools where you are, yeah. So where you are, those are the place like they come and inspect the school, then approve, because like you only have like the ones that are going to class 6, yeah. So they are class 6 and 7, right? So they approve those schools that they can be the junior high school. So what will happen if they don't meet the criteria? One, the school can be a feeding, so which means you are feeding another primary school that is next to you. So for instance, and another thing, like we need labs. If the schools, because like the labs are not built, and some of the schools, they have high school that are next to them. So they can use the labs for the high school that is next to you. And another thing I know, we were told like they need to have the different uniform from the school, yeah, from with the primary, yeah. So that is something that is there. And another thing that the teacher was telling us, this is when we were in the meeting, the teachers are going to come, they're going to bring in new teachers. And in the primary school, there are teachers who kind of like went through and have degrees. So the teachers who have degrees will be also teaching the junior high school. So that is something that is there.
Wow, that is interesting. So I know of some schools in Kenya. Okay, Magoha did some construction. Is it of 10,000 classrooms? Because I know of a school that has 2 extra classes. It's a high school. Now it's an extra county school. It's a big school. So the school was prepared to receive the junior high school. So they are going to have 2 sections of the school. There's a junior high school that is coming in. Then there's this form 1 ya kawaida. Wako na room ya form 1 ya kawaida. Sasa hiyo shule ni shule ya wasichana. Sasa nikana kama itakuwa na mix day.
Yeah, they can have the mix because
and then they have the girls body.
Yes.
Why when you are class 8? Is that what is happening to some of the schools?
Yeah, like to me, what I know, like for instance, I'm just talking about when you are in primary school. Let's say like you have a primary school within the area, and this primary school, they have to come and do inspection. If it meets the requirement, then the junior high school is going to be in there. They're not going anywhere. Yeah. So what will happen? The new teachers that will be hired will come and teach here. They will teach the junior secondary. But when the primary does not meet the criteria, the primary will become a feeding source to the other school. So which means these students who are here will be transferred to the nearest schools around that area.
Okay, that is another thing that we have to debate upon. You give us feedback. I want to welcome Leo. Leo, as you talk, tell us about what Mama Makibao said. She talked about did Ruto really say that he's going to withdraw help? I mean, did he say that he's going to stop the funding for the universities? You people, did you know that it costs, I think there is cost. Nyinyi watu mmesoma hivi karibuni, you are young, if you went to a Kenyan university, the total cost for going to the university may be about 200,000 per year for every degree. That could be among the lowest. It is only that the fee is usually paid by the government. So these youngsters pay about 16,000. But the bulk of it, that's why we have what we call government-sponsored students. Government-sponsored students. So government-sponsored students don't pay much. And on top of that, if they cannot raise that 16,000 and meet the cost of their boarding, vitabu, wanapewa help. I want to say without shame that I'm a beneficiary of help. And I went to the university when I think the fee was I don't know when it was 8,000 or it was still 16,000. But everything else I was paid for by the government. I even had a book allowance for 3,000, Brother Benson. We had a book allowance of 3,000 in the bookshop ya university. Sasa ungeenda uchukue vile vitabu unataka ama vitu ya kuandikia. Alafu hata calculator, I remember I got my first scientific calculator from the bookshop ya university. Then we were being given loan, so we had money for our accommodation and money for our, chakula. I went to the university when Moi just stopped the free university education. So the people I met were in second year and they had benefited from free university in first year. So second year, they were going to pay. So when we joined, we were also going to pay. But even as we paid, we were still being funded by the government, almost like, that's a very big percentage if you're only paying 16,000. And then the 16,000 umepewa loan, na loan yangu ya kwanza ya help, kwanza kuna ile tulikuwa naita boom, lakini loan yangu ya kwanza ilikuwa 42K. So 42K was a lot of money. I paid my hostel, and those days you had to stay in the hostel. I paid my hostel, I had enough food. But I want to say this, that it didn't take me long to pay for help, because help, you can't get away with it. You can't run away. As soon as you graduate, unashikwa. Hata kama you are working in the private sector, unashikwa. Na Waswahili wanasema ukishikwa shikamana. You pay, you have to pay it. And some of us who have come to the US on work permits, I came here on a work permit. And therefore, the government of Kenya had to clear me to come and work for the United States of America. And they had to make sure I had a help certificate for me to be cleared. So hii story ati kwamba watu walipiwe help, people pay for help. Hiyo ni story ya Ruto. That's a lie from hell. So people should not buy that lie. So Leo, as you talk about today's agenda, you can also tell us, is it true Ruto is planning to stop help or to withdraw funding for the university students? We still need to confirm that. Karibu Leo.
Thank you very much, Julia. Brother Benson, I can see Mzalendo, Domi and Wamama Kibao mbele. Ingawaje leo mko wawili, sasa sijui. Ile siku mlisema Wamama Kibao na mlitu overpower. Good morning, everyone. So first of all, maybe to start, first things first is just to remind Kenyans outside there that the Jacaranda meeting is real. despite the conspiracy theories that the Tanga are trying to give outside there, and to an extent of even telling you that the Jacaranda meeting is going to be called because of a mere AFC Leopard game. That is not true. The meeting is there. People are welcomed. The gates will be opened as early as 9 a.m. So you can tell a friend to tell a friend so that you can attend. It is going to be the mother of all meetings. This is a meeting that has seen the government suspend their daily routine, and each and every person in the government, from ministers to MPs to senators to MCs, are talking about the Jacaranda meeting. Wherever the president goes, he has to mention about Jacaranda. So maybe to put that on aside, I know we'll get some better time to maybe address it. The matter of education, what Ruto said was this. I want to make it clear. He did say that he's going to disband HELB, and there is this thing that you normally call the TVET funding. Remember, we normally have TVET funding. Then after disbanding them, he said he's going to constitute a new board, which he said is going to streamline maybe the way the funds are being transferred. So that is the reason he gave. But the reality here is you'll find that TVET funding is operating independently. And if you go to the villages, you'll find that currently most people are able to do courses at an affordable fee because of this TVET. They've been technical training colleges. I remember in my village, there are about 3. And when you go there, there's amount that the government is paying for you. Actually, if you join this TVET, the government is paying for you 40,000. So if the fee was supposed to be like 60,000, you'll find that you'll only be paying 20,000. HELB has been there, and it is a part of the Kenyan heritage, because if you mention HELB to any other country, they know it is part of the Kenyan heritage. So if you want to disband HELB and maybe come up with something called Ruto's Fund or Hustler maybe Education Fund, I think it is also going to make Kenya lose their heritage and their identity. So if you look at it keenly, what Ruto wants is, he knows very well, if he consolidates these things together, he's going to have them at one place whereby it is easy for him to control and manipulate them. When these bodies exist independently and separately, it is hard for you to control them. Ruto is just after bringing everything under his feet, whereby he can remotely control everything. So at the moment, we are having HELB in a different, it's a differently structured, and we're also having it differently structured. So if somebody wants to interfere with them, for example, today, you'll have to sweat, and maybe you'll have to use a lot of energy, a lot of time, and approach several people for you to be able to control them. Because maybe the person in HELB will not agree with the person in TVET. But the moment you bring them together, it is easy for you to control them for your own benefit. That is what this government wants. Another sad thing that is happening here, and you see the ministers, even the ones who are not concerned with education, boasting how they are going to look for the investors outside to come and pick our public universities. They want to privatize universities. And they don't want to maybe privatize it by giving it to the Kenyan investors. They are looking for foreign investors. Meaning, you know, currently, like most of the things that we learn are foreign. That is why we normally have Kenyans, Africans with some European mind or European brain. But now they also want our universities to be owned by foreign investors. And that is how education is going to be expensive and complicated. If currently we are having these universities run by the government, and majority of the students who are admitted in these universities, first of all, there is a specific grade that you have to attain, then the government will have to pay some amount. So if currently at that situation, there are some who still cannot be able to pay. So what do you think will happen if these universities are privatized? Will the government be able to pay money in a private institution? You know, we have the CDF bursary. The government does not pay bursary to the private secondary schools or to private institutions because of one reason. There is a ease of manipulation. There are cases whereby somebody will have a private secondary school and will register non-existent students only to get money from the government. So if the government is planning to privatize these universities, it means Number one, this help or the body that they want to form will be channeling money to some people's private businesses. And here is a case whereby you'll find that a university will be having like 1,000 students, but will be getting money for 2,000 students. So we should not allow our universities to be privatized. Just a minute, I'm just opening for somebody somewhere. Brother Benson, you can continue within a minute.
Anyway, to me, I'm not really very much conversant about the university. So about like the system now, the way it is as compared to when I was before. But like right now, maybe Mzalendo, if you know anything about it.
What I had the president saying is that he will form a body that will will join, what is a better word for it? Will join the
I
Tibet
said he's
colleges.
going to form a body that is going to
Will join all
merge Tibet and
yes,
yeah.
and increase funding to students who are receiving help loan by 45%. That's a good thing. I don't know why these people are deliberating about it. That's a good thing
Okay,
for the students.
Zalendo,
Yeah,
let me ask you.
you are
You are a professional. You understand what specialization is.
specialization. Yes, I understand what
If you
specialization is.
understand what it is, so
Yes,
I believe things work better if they have like things are categorized, unlike when they are generalized.
I don't.
And increasing the funding does not need renaming or merging
No,
two bodies. You
I
can
don't.
increase the funding at the departmental level. If
You
today
see,
you want to tell me for you to increase the funding for education in Kenya, you have to merge a secondary and a primary school, then that is a misplaced priority. It won't work better. Things work efficiently when we have specific departments dealing with specific issues. You know that one very well. Even where you are working, your offices you're having departments. Why do you have departments? For efficiency. Unless you want to bring confusion, is when you will centralize things and merge them and put them together. That is, I can assure you there will be no efficiency there. So that is where the president is taking us. But all in all, what this president is doing is simple. This is a busy body. Yesterday, he told you he wants to return the Uduma number. You know his sentiments on Uduma number. They want to have an Uduma number in the next 12 months. So the president is busy. He's a busybody. He just
yeah,
wants to keep on doing and undoing things that were there before. Yeah, the
yeah,
Mount
I
Kenya
agree with
people were
you.
trying for 1 man, 1 vote, 1 shilling, only for them to come up with one constituency, one bar. So the government is so idle. They don't want to deal with the things on the ground, the real things that are happening, but they want to divert the attention of citizens and keep on telling them that we are working so that we get lured and think that these people are busy. I was so disappointed yesterday when I saw the president speaking as if he's still on a campaign mood, telling people that watu wamepeleka watoto wao ng'ambo na wengine wamepeleka watoto wao Eala na nyinyi anataka kuwapeleka pale wapi? Pale Jakaranda, badala sasa sisi tuwatafutie kazi. So what has he done for the last 4 months? Did he promise to give these Kenyans work? So I like what Sakaja told him. If you see somebody calling a maandamano on a Tuesday, working day, na watu wanaenda wanajaa, it means kuna njaa. So anafaa tumia akili ajue kuna njaa. Zile ahadi alipatia watu hakuweza kutimiza. Kuna zile ahadi alisema atatimiza baada ya siku 100, na ni zile ahadi zingewezekana kama kupeana ajira hizi za watu walikuwa wanafanya clean up na wanalipwa pesa. So because such work is not there, people are hungry and they are available, and the same people are the ones who are going to remove him from the office because they get angry each and every day. So those are the busy things that he keeps on telling us. And the 6 months, which is historical, back, those are not making sense. So he cannot promise that by disbanding, and they are also talking of renaming. No, those things are not going to work, Zalendo. Domi.
Hey, boss. Leo, you've spoken.
Okay. Okay, sasa unajua there is something that you have touched that I think it makes a lot of it's very weighty, and I think for any organization, if we go into it, then it means that in the end move, you know, being a busybody, you want to. Yani ni kama there was a day somebody was giving us a story of the time of Hitler. There is a concentration camp. Walikuwa wanaambiwa carry these bricks to that side, mnabeba mnapeleka. Kesho mnaambiwa beba hizo bricks mrudishe pahali mlitoa. Wanabeba wakalipeleka. Do you know it got to a time when they said no, we are not going to do that. The reason being, even if you are under bondage, even if you are under oppression, mmefungwa, yani uko jela, but there are some things that don't make sense at all, and there are some things that don't make us they will not give you even a mind to rest. Is doing the going around the same thing and not moving. Okay, hapa hivi anatuambia anataka kudisband help, sijaunganishe gani na gani. For what purpose? Isaidie na nini? Has help failed? It has not failed. Okay, in my workplace we used to say, if it's not broken, don't fix it. Fix what is broken, unless you're doing an overhaul. You don't do overhaul every time. Now, huku any project yenye Uhuru alianzisha is working against it. It means you are idle. Now listen to me, na Wakenya mnisikize vizuri. And this is just common knowledge. I don't have to be an economist. You as an individual, wewe kama mzalendo, wewe kama Leo, wewe kama Benson, what makes you grow is what you are producing in your home or in your land or with your energy at your workplace. What you are producing is what makes you grow. If you are not producing anything, you are not growing. For Kenya to grow, we should think of how we can create production, not taking water from one jug to another. Because what the whole government is doing is kuchota maji kutoka kwa jug moja kuweka.
Thank you very much. In Zimbabwe, we have adopted basic philosophy, which is village philosophy. One, we say a country must be ruled by the people of that country. Two, a country must be developed by the people of that country. Three, a country must eat what it kills. That is village wisdom. Now, in Zimbabwe, we have problems of food insecurity, and we said, how much food do we want per year to feed our country? We know we need about 2 million metric tons of grain. So we say, because there is climate change, how many hectares of land can we put under irrigation to produce the 2 million plus metric tons to feed the nation? And we determine how much yield does a hectare have? Once you have done that, you now know how many hectares you must put under irrigation to achieve the amount of grain you want to feed your nation in spite of climate change. That we have done, and we are now food secure. Secondly, we have been importing our wheat from Ukraine, our fertilizer from Russia. Now that side is problematic. So we decided to say we need about 240,000 metric tons of wheat. So how many hectares do we want under irrigation to grow wheat? And we calculated and put that number of hectares under wheat. We are now wheat sufficient. And we believe that next season we should be able to export wheat. We got the fertilizer which we are getting from Russia. We decided to find out what makes fertilizer. We discovered that because of the colonial mentality, we thought fertilizer was produced elsewhere. We have the materials in the country, and 3-4 months ago we've begun producing our own fertilizer. Fourth, it is necessary that we harvest water. So
sorry for that. I did not see it coming. I think I'm also surprised to see it, but it given us some great information there that I would want us to comment on. So you can proceed with what you are saying. Maybe if you want to comment on the video, you can also do so as well. Then I'll give Zalendo an opportunity to say something on it. I can see Godfrey is also there. Then finally, Brother Benson will also have to give a comment. Sometimes it is good to have such interruptions. So if maybe you are planning to lie, they interfere with your lies. So when you come back, you have to restructure the lies and give us what is truly in your mind. So you can proceed.
I think it came the very right time, and that was what I was talking about. You cannot grow unless you are producing in your own land. Now, telling, it is easy for somebody to come and tell us that you have reduced the price of fertilizer. Now, it is a direct challenge. In fact, it's just a direct challenge. What is that guy saying? They are stop depending on fertilizer from outside. They are making their own. That is now what we are talking of, a growing nation. That is what we are talking about, a growing nation. A growing nation is those thinking on what do we do on our food security. The food security problem was brought by irresponsibility in the government, whereby guys, they end up, instead of facilitating growth of a farmer in Kenya to grow maize and sell to the cereal board, they open doors for importation at the time when a farmer has maize. Now, how do you expect it to grow? And exactly what happened recently. They are importing maize at the time when the farmer has maize. Are you helping to grow the nation? No, you are killing. So it was killed that way. You see, this guy is talking of making their fertilizer. They have managed. They have okay. They have talked of. They calculate. They should be in mathematics. They got in a mathematics room to calculate how much grain do we need, how much land do we need to plant. That is what Ruto will be doing now. The guy is talking of how. Okay, he talked of wheat, he talked of grain. Okay, probably if it's in Kenya, we'll be talking of maize. Those are the mathematics that should be thinking a progressing nation should be thinking of. It is not going to talk about help, merging help and whatever. Taking one jug of water and pouring in another jug, and the next day you are going to take it from one jug to pour in another. That is rubbish. You are not working. You are just circumlocuting. And now, if such a things happen, I'm trying to imagine if they had taken something like in those dry areas, they have started the maize, the maize growing whatever field for irrigation. If they will be making something, people will be employed there. We will have some people who are going to transport fertilizer from Nairobi to that side, from whatever. You have some people who will transport even the maize, the harvested maize from that side to Nairobi. We'll have tractors who are going to do the cultivation of the land there. That is employment. And in addition to doing that, it will be you are making your land full secure. You are spending, but creating a solution for the nation. But what are these guys doing? Wachana na nini? Wachana na kazi mitaani, tunapeleka, tutajenga. When are you going to build? And it's now. Right now, anaita watu idlers. When wanapanga kwenda Jakaranda kesho, that idlers. They are idle, yes. But why? Why are they idle? It's because they have nothing to do. If those guys were occupied kwa kazi mitaani, they will not go there. Utaacha kazi uende Jakaranda. And by the way, these guys are not paid anything. Everybody knows that Raila walipi watu kwenda mikutano, wataenda wenyewe. Because they are idle. Keep these people busy. Give them something to do. Let them produce. Instead, okay, kama kitu angekuwa anafanya kingine, wangekuwa anatengeneza tafuta vile. They should be trying to encourage farmers to plant more coffee. Encourage farmers to plant more tea. That is the direction the nation will be going. But what are they doing? Kwenda kuzunguka na kuambia watu tulishinda. So what? Inatusaidia na nini? That is, as Leo said, that is being a busybody. Hakuna kitu natusaidia. I think that's what I will say for now.
Thank you. I think also your president lecturing fellow African leaders there in Dakar on food security. When back in Kenya, Kenyans are eating ugali made of grass. Pale Nakuru. We've resorted, like we are eating ugali made of grass, and your president has got the guts to go and lecture a fellow presidents on food security. This is a president who's, when he was the deputy president, is being claimed that he interfered with the construction of dams that right now will be helping in production of food, the Aurora and the Kimwarer dams. This is a president who, when he was the deputy president for 10 years, kept on promising you that you're going to have 6 stadiums within 6 months, making it 10 within 6 months, and the promises still continue. Let me give it to Mzalendo.
A point of correction. Ruto was not the president when he was promising stadiums. He was the vice president of the Republic of Kenya. You keep
Correction
on
noted, but you also have to note that the second in command is he's not a vice president like in the old
deputy president.
In the old constitution, a vice president was just a mayor, mtu wa mkono wa rais. But this is a deputy president duly elected with the president. Is the one who was chairing The cabinet that determines how development is done in this country. It is called IB what? Chairing that. Apart from
Anyway,
that,
IPEC.
he was drawing salaries each and every month. Never did he fail to draw his salary claiming that he'd not been assigned duty. Then the deputy president is the principal assistant of the president. And if all he was saying is true, that he was denied his duties, this is the same person who keeps on telling us he only takes credit of what the government did well, but doesn't want to be associated with the failures. So there is no way you can differ. Once you've cooked tea with using water and milk, you can't separate it. So the president is trying to invent his own scientific methods. I understand he is a scientist because he ate a GM1, did not grow some breast, so he's a scientist. He is inventing his other scientific methods of separating this milk from water just by. So it doesn't make sense. So this is somebody who was promising at the capacity of a president. When the president was away, who was in that office? Why was he earning the salaries then? What was his role as the deputy president?
Matiangi.
Another correction.
Was Matiangi earning his salary? Was Matiangi residing in the official residence of the deputy president? No.
Anyway, that
okay.
now
Another correction. It is Ruto himself who said, in the first term, the president gave me everything. I am the one doing everything. It was confirmed by Moses Kuria and Sabina Chege, who said, in the first term, to be honest, when you go to the president, he will say, go to the deputy president, Ruto. He is the one who is handling all the projects. So mzalendo, tafadhali. Just usiongee juu ya hiyo.
Okay, wacha niwache kuongea juu ya hiyo na ni concentrate na failure za Ruto as a deputy president while he was working with Uhuru. And Uhuru's gain as a president without mentioning Ruto. So when Uhuru is gaining, Ruto is losing. Or you'll say Ruto Uhuru only worked with Baba to achieve whatever. I know that will be your argument, your next argument, line of thought. But anyway, Leo, you played a very important clip, and that has made me thinking how Kenya we can improve our farming. Although some of these things have already been were already initiated before, irrigation schemes, things like that. It's only that the political leadership in Kenya does not really emphasize on things that will increase food security. You know, when you have agriculture that depends solely on rain, and with the climate change and things like that, you have to resort into irrigation, but not like 100% of the land in Kenya is for agriculture. And it is sad when we think like 100% or 80% of land in Kenya is for agriculture. You only find like 20% of land in Kenya is capable to do agriculture and for commercial purposes. In Zimbabwe, I think the white farmers, when they were chased away by the blacks in Zimbabwe, they left very huge tracts of land. They depended on farming. What had been a challenge, apart from politics, is that the Africans in Zimbabwe could not maintain the equipments that were left by the white people. So for a long time, before they got the politics right and got the right leadership, And that's where we are, getting the politics right and getting the right leadership. So they got the politics right and got the right president who was going to take care of the farmers and take care of the land and give them the subsidies that Leo you are talking about. That is why there is an increase in production in Zimbabwe. It can happen in Kenya. I believe if you go back without politicizing and critiquing William Ruto, go back to when he was the Minister for Agriculture. That is the time most farmers gain in Kenya. Apart, then I know you will come later and say, that is the time we got the maize scandal. You have to bring that in. But look at what he did as the Minister of Agriculture. No minister has achieved what Ruto did. Look at what he did when he was in ELB. He was in charge of ELB, the Minister of Education, something like that. Look at what he did. Just go back. You do your research. I always tell you guys, go and do your research about this guy. This guy, if you follow him carefully, you'll realize that he has got some good things that he can bring to the country. Apart from just politicking and saying, Ruto ni mwizi, Ruto ni mwizi, Ruto ameiba sijui nini, amefanya nini. Look at the gains that, and the promises, the so-called promises that he has promised Kenyans. Right now, we have the first. Right now, we are assembling the electric bus in Kenya. Nobody is talking about it. It is an achievement, and it's going to employ people. Yeah, those are things. Those are small gains towards industrialization of our country, but nobody is talking about it. You're only looking at the negative aspect of William Ruto. Look at the positive. Hata kama ni kidogo, try to look at the positive side of this guy. I know you will not see it because most of you are Azimio, but me, I try to look at the positives of someone vis-a-vis the negative aspect and the politics around his presidency. Look at the gains that we will make with this kind of leader. Look at what he's trying to cut down. Ruto is just trying to cut down cost and bringing efficiency. When you are saying Ruto abolished, you started by saying Ruto abolished help. No, Ruto is saying all these people are under the Ministry of Education. This fund is provided by the government. Let us have one body that will take care of the tertiary colleges, take care of the universities, take care of the schools under one roof, not at everybody doing their own thing. It is easier to manage things like that than do a micromanagement. So those are the pluses, but I know you'll just look at the negative aspect of it. There's a lot of positives that are going to come from this government. Give it time, we'll see what really happens by the end of the year. Thank you.
Jeffrey Ouma can go.
Okay, I greet you guys. I think there's a guy that I want to respond to on the comment section. This guy called John Dirangu. Dirangu, there's something I've said that people will reason upright the moment they will get Raila out of their head and become sober. And then there's another comment that you have said that people can't see anything as long as Raila has occupied their mind. Bure kabisa. The same Raila is the one who caused the problem we have now in the handshake government. Dirangu, there is something that I want you to know before you start calling people Bure kabisa. All the protest that is being called for right now, do you know that there's a section of a group of Jubilee people, just a small function, that has been pushing quietly on the thing? They are plotting, in fact, for this protest. They are the ones who are pushing quietly and they are backboning it. Yes,
okay.
I was just answering this guy called Ndirangu because he's talking something from the comment section. I think
I actually wanted to block him, but let me not block him. I just want to give him a response, a 45-second response that will cure the disease he's suffering from. And here we are not describing the tribes or whatever. If maybe people are hungry, all the tribes are hungry. If people are jobless, all the tribes are jobless. If people are enjoying, we're enjoying as Kenyans. So maybe just to respond to Mzalendo a bit, Mzalendo, I have to agree with you that William Ruto, as the Minister of Agriculture, he did a lot to his benefit. That is true, he did a lot by ensuring that the major in fact, is the one who led to the collapse of the sugar industry. Our sugar industry collapsed during Ruto as the Minister of Agriculture, and this one is what opened ways for private investors to start importing sugar from Brazil and other countries into Kenyan economy. He did a lot to ensure that Mumias sugar fell, Cabras, Sony, Muhoroni. So, and you've also mentioned the maize. That is when the maize scandal came for the first time. I know he was not alone. He had some other guys that they were with, but he was the minister. So he showed, that is the time that he showed us that Ruto likes importation. He doesn't like what is Kenyan. Like that video just tells you, for us to grow, we need to be producing. But the mentality of importing will not make us to grow. The only thing that we as Kenyans can export are agricultural products. But if you kill the agricultural sector, we are not going to export anything. So by killing the sugar industry and now expecting us to start, they want to privatize those companies to individuals who will be importing raw sugar. That one is not going to help Kenyans. He did a lot to benefit himself. That is true. And that is why he was able to bribe himself and control our electoral system. So before maybe Godfrey you speak, I can see Kenyan Mwana Hamisi is also there. Leo ni kama amefika kule pwani. Let me just respond to that person who is becoming nuisance there. Let him just watch this.
Democracy. The only alternative is revolution. So that's number one. Democracy is a distraction from development. Number two, when I travel, especially Africa, but it's true in the Caribbean also, Black people are more concerned with their tribe being in control than they are with liberation from foreign control. Are you following me? I've seen it. So when the elections is coming up, it's not about freeing us from white supremacy or Chinese imperialism. It's about, are my people going to be the president? Is somebody from my tribe going to be the prime minister? And because they're more...
So that kind of mentality is what has brought us in the problem that we have right now. That even if Ruto is not doing the right thing, and because he's from my tribe, or he's supported by my tribe's men, then I just have to sugarcoat it. And this idea of when I want to become president, I just need to go and get few individuals from a specific tribe and a specific community. And this is the news, or this is the gospel that Gachagua is preaching for you daily, that watu ya mlema, sijui watu ya nini. So such kind of backward mentality should get out of anyone's brain. If you want to develop yourself and develop the future, you need to start thinking Kenya and thinking yourself. If you think Kenya, I'm sure you will be able to think and feel the problems that Kenyans are going through, and you'll have to address them and tackle them head on without thinking of who is doing them. But at the moment you come with the mentality of my tribe, and that is when, instead of seeing the evil things that the Kenya Kwanza government is doing, you are seeing Ruto as your tribesman, or you are seeing Gachagua as your tribesman. And I do tell people, tribes are never in power. The tribes have never been in power. Somebody will tell you that the Kalenjins have been in power. I don't know. It is Moi who was in power for 24 years. It was Kenyatta, Uhuru, and currently it is Ruto who is fraudulently forcing himself to be in power, not his tribesmen. That is why there are places in Central, if you go up to date, there are people who are still being infested by jiggers. So it is individuals who are in power, and we have to challenge these individuals, irrespective of their tribes. But the moment we start challenging their tribes, then we lose it. So if you're coming here with that tribal mentality, it's not going to work. It is not going to help Kenyans. Like tomorrow we are at Jacaranda. The people who will be in Jacaranda are not Luos. The people who will be in Jacaranda are Kenyans who are tired of the situation, are Kenyans who want electoral justice, and are Kenyans who are dreaming of a better Kenya and believe that it can be possible. And the only way it can be possible is when you come out as Kenyans and say that we have the sovereign power and we now want to use our sovereign power directly. Godfrey.
Okay, just to add something on what you have been saying, you know, the guy, I don't know how he's thinking, because I believe the protest, okay, let me come in another way. The protest that is going on right now, there's an allegation from some governors in central Kenya, somebody from Tarakaniti, who say that it is just a function of a Jubilee group that is trying to plot and bankrolling the plant. But I don't agree fully with him that is only Jubilee. What I know is all of Kenyans, the people who are facing the hardship, ambao tuko sahi ndani yake. There's another governor, this Selili, alleged that there's a group of tycoon who met in Mombasa to plan on this protest. So just ask yourself a question. If tycoons can meet to plan for the protest, then it means that there's something wrong. Business zao pengine ndo hazifanyi vizuri. Things are not working in Kenya. So when people are crying out, usiseme kuwa ni watu wamejaa na akili ya Raila. It's not only Raila pushing for this. Ni people, watu wameketi chini, wameona this government. The president promised a lot of things, but he's not working on anything. This is a president of promises. Promises everything that he's promising, he cannot deliver. So hii mambo ya kwanza kuambia watu asijia ati they have to watoe Raila kwa akili zao ndio waweze kufikiria vizuri. That's just backwardness. You talked about something on handshake. Handshake has a lot of benefit. Look at these people in Mombasa. Mombasa ilikuwa inapitia shida mingi sana, but the time kulikuwa na handshake, tumepata a lot of benefits here. Roads zimejengwa. Kibarani ilikuwa ni shida kila siku, jam kila siku. Sasa hakuna kitu kama jam. Watu walikuwa wana miss ndege at airport. Mtu anatoka Nyali kufika airport anachukua almost 3 hours, 4 hours. Somebody from port anaweza toka port akienda Mkindani anachukua 8 hours kwa sababu ya jam. But when you had the handshake, look at what has happened. Kumekuwa na relief. Wacha tu Mombasa, in central Kenya and in Nyanza kulikuwa na a lot of bitterness, but after handshake at least watu wanaongea sai, it cooled down that temperature that was ambayo ilikuwa kitambo. So wacha kudemonize everything. What we know that Uhuru was the best person. Okay, there's some things that he did that was not right, but he was the best governor, best president that we had, because he brought a lot of things, a lot of changes in our midst. Ruto hakuna kitu ambacho mnaona kufanya. He had been on the seat for almost 4 months. Misioni anything. Look at the Hustler Fund. Hustler Fund ni kitu ambacho imekuja kuharibu tu, kusumbua tu watu akili. Akisema kuwa business, which kind of business can you start 500 shillings? There's another guy from UDA say that if you take 500 shillings, utaweza enda uchukue brush pale, uchukue rangi, uende upigie watu viatu rangi. Watu wangapi watakuwa utapigia viatu rangi alafu upate pesa ya kulipa within 14 days? No, tuache kudemonize vitu ambazo haziko. This government is not working. The government is full of, and bado ni kama bado wako kwa campaign mood. Na sisi hatutakubaliana na issue kama hiyo. I think maisha imekuwa ngumu. We need a person who want to take over the country. And what we are pushing on the issue of election. The election haikuwa right. Mtu ambaye alishinda imeonekana wazi and evidence are out there. Ni Raila Amolo Odinga. So when we are fighting for this, we are not only fighting for Raila, and it's not that Raila ndo shida. Watu wameona kuna shida and we have to address it before we go to another step. Hatuwezi sema tuta move on, tuache situation veniko sahi, tungoje 2027. In 2027 things will be worse. So tuache mambo ya propaganda. Ndirangu sioni kama kuna anything ambayo you are trying to tell us hapa. Sisi tunajua things are not working, and that's why we are pushing on all these things. Hata unajua umefanya mpaka hata nikasikia nimeboeka sana. Leo wacha nitakuja baadaye kidogo.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, Nirangu should know that we are where we are because of bad policies. We are yet to see a positive policy being initiated by this government. What they are doing is undoing what the former regime did and redoing it again. I was so shocked to see the president telling you, not the president. I was so shocked to see the president telling you that he's going to introduce what is called the Oduma number. And these are some of the things he's really been opposing. So we have a confused institution calling itself government. Kenyan Mwanamisi, you can proceed.
Hi Leo. Hao wengine hawaonekani majina yao. Leo ninakujua by face and by sound, by voice. So the other people, please, I greet you and you are all fine. I can hear your voice and we are talking about Kenya. Wewe Leo umeachilia huyo mzalendo. I wanted to tell him something because he is doing harm instead of good to his president. When he is talking about his previous career or what he was in which docket he was, he's blowing the horn. That guy was sacked all those departments he was in because of how poor he was managing. And so those are things that they should not even bring it here because it doesn't help. It doesn't hold water. It's only that they are blemishing their president who they believe on, but we don't believe on him. He's doing very bad stuff in Kenya, and it is good that people have come to realize that he was not elected. I was one of the people who are blaming Kikuyus that they did a very bad thing to vote for him, but we have come to know that the truth. This was a hidden agenda, and it was played as perception for many people to see like he was voted in by Kikuyus. You know, this secret ballot plays a lot of things in people's mind. You will not be able to tell who did this or who did that. But it's good that the whistleblower has brought the real scenario, what happened. And I'm happy for that. Because if only today people are told to line up, hata kama ni hiyo ilikuwa inaitwa mlolongo, that guy will be very much ashamed because nobody will go his line at this juncture. I wish it can be done like re-election ifanyike. Huyo mtu atakuwa ashamed. Very bad. A big blow. Sababu hakuna mtu atakuwa huo mlengo wake. Hata hawa watu unaona wakimtetea hapa. They will not accept to see a long line going all the way zigzag, zigzag. It is one line for one person. Hawatakubali kuonekana kwa hiyo line nyingine. They are just talking because we cannot see them or we are not lining up. They are not going to accept to be seen on that small line or short line. I have heard many people saying about this government is doing their work, whatever. And when you see somebody who is promising you today, then promising you tomorrow, then promising you next year, that person has no interest with you at all. Kwa sababu mtu ambaye ako na mpango, at least kuna kitu moja angekuwa amefanya tuone. So he has got all these things he is holding by himself and boasting that it will happen this time, it will happen this time, and that time comes and pass. Tuliambiwa tutajengewa dams. Mara anasema hii, mara anasema hii. Alisema atajenga 100. Me, I wonder what kind of language is that? It's like you are talking to children, small kids that will not remember tomorrow. Because I can't imagine 100 dams and up to today hakuna hata imeoneshanwa itakuwa wapi ama itafanyika aje ama budget iko wapi. The only thing ni kufyonza tu watu damu, ati mtu anapewa 500 anakatwa 25, unapata 475. Sasa hata hiyo ni pesa gani hiyo? Sasa unaambiwa umepewa 500. And many people are saying even those 25 shillings they cannot trace where they will get it afterwards. Sio kitu iko na mpangilio ati unaweza fuatilia, na tena unafuatilia ni yako, si anaonekana huyu mtu ni kutaka, alikuwa anataka your data, so that ukiwa utafikiria kufanya biashara ingine, wacha hiyo ya 500,